Stop doing what you're doing. In other words, take a break and assess what is working and what is not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Stop doing what's not working and look for something new. Hope you're all doing well. I am looking forward to doing some reading for you today. We are almost finished with Rich Dad Poor Dad, which has been going very, very fast. So, still want more? Here are some to-dos. Let's get into it. Let's do what we usually do every morning at 8 a.m. Sydney time. Here we go. Many people are not satisfied with my 10 steps. They see them more as philosophies than actions. I think understanding the philosophy is just as important as the action. There are many people who want to do instead of think. And then there are people who think but do not do. I would say that I'm both. I love new ideas and I love action. So for those who want a to-do list on how to get started, I will share with you some of the things I do in abbreviated form. Stop doing what you're doing. In other words, take a break and assess what is working and what is not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Stop doing what's not working and look for something new. There was actually a very interesting Seinfeld episode where George, I think, in Seinfeld was doing everything the opposite of how he would have done it otherwise. I did the same thing with an exam once that I was failing. I failed the exam twice, and it was multiple choice, or at least 50% of it, I think, was multiple choice, and it was just two choices, yes or no. And so I decided I was going to answer the exact, if I'd failed twice, then I should be able to answer by doing the exact opposite. And I did, and I passed, because obviously I kept getting everything wrong. So the chances were that if I did the exact opposite, I was going to get a different result, which was a pass. And that is exactly what happened. So where in your life can you stop doing something that you've always done, that you're holding on to so tightly that you think it's the only way that you can do it? It's the only way that you should be doing it. And let go of that so you can do something a little bit different. There's a very famous saying that the most successful people in the world are generally the most flexible. So if you can be flexible around what you do, what you believe, what you are, then you can change. And when you can change, you can get different results. If you always hold on to and do things exactly the same way you've always done them, then of course, nothing in your life will change. And if you're going to rigidly hold on to everything, then of course, there is absolutely no way for you to be able to get a different result. So be flexible and take some time to look at what's not working and see what you can do to change it. And you might need some outside help for that. So just keep that in mind. You might not be able to do that alone, especially if you have been doing something for a very, very, very long time. It gets very deeply ingrained like the groove on a record player. Look for new ideas. For new investing ideas, I go to bookstores and search for books on different and unique subjects. I call them formulas. I buy how-to books on formulas I know nothing about. For example, in the bookstore, I found the book, The 16% Solution by Joel Moskowitz. I bought the book and read it, and the next Thursday, I did exactly as the book said. Most people do not take action, or they let somebody talk them out of whatever new formula they are studying. My neighbor told me why 16% would not work. I did not listen to him because he's never done it. This is also so important. So it happens very often that I will go out and I will just do some research on random strategies that people use. I find them on TikTok. I look for YouTube videos. I have ideas of my own that are based on two ideas that I've seen, and I think about how I might be able to combine those. And then I will test them out. On a small scale, I will test them out. I will have a look. I might paper trade. I might not put any money in at the beginning, and then I might put a little bit. And so I will test out all sorts of different things. Because how are you going to know if something has a better return than what you're doing? So let's say that I'm making a 2% return by putting my money on the bank. That is wonderful. I am in the positive. So I'm ahead of some people who are not investing at all. But how am I going to know if there's something better out there? The only way I'm going to know that is by testing it against something else, the scientific method. A perfect example of this, when I had my cafe, I used to take my suppliers, and every 6 months I would tell them, okay, I'm going to look for a new supplier and I'm going to compare you to 3 others. If you are still the most competitive and you still have been producing or giving me the best produce possible, then I am likely to stay with you. If your prices have drastically increased compared to everybody else and the quality of the goods that you are bringing me are not as good anymore, then I am likely to replace you. Now, obviously, they didn't like that very much, but it was very important for me to be able to do that to ensure that I didn't have rising costs all the time and that the quality of the food that I was serving my customers wasn't going down. Because, yes, I could give them the benefit of the doubt and be easy on them and all of that. But ultimately, what generally happens, especially with fruit and vegetable suppliers, for example, they will start out, they will come and they'll say, would you like to change suppliers? I'm going to give you the best quality. And they show you all of these really beautiful avocados and berries and pieces of fruit. And they'll say, I'm going to deliver this to you all the time. Now, it's obviously better than what the last guy was sending, because when he started sending me nice things. And then over time, it started deteriorating. And as he's looking for new customers, he gives them the good stuff. And he starts giving me whatever is left over, all the rubbish that's left over. So now I need to prevent that, because obviously he's looking after his interests. I have to look after my interests as well. Otherwise, my business will go bankrupt. So I need to make sure that I create something that's going to work for him as well, because if he keeps supplying me good things, my business will go up. I will order more from him. So only getting new customers is not really the only answer that he has. Anyhow, to cut a long story short, I would do this every 6 months with my suppliers. And so I was able to find who had a better deal. If the current supplier was not changing, they were not looking out for my interests, then I would compare them to 3 others. So if I have my 2% bank account, and then I also do a little bit of information, or I look for a bit of information, I do a bit of study on the stock market, I might find that I can actually get 3, 4, 5%. So now I found something that's a little bit better. So now I might do a bit of study on real estate and find something which is very basic, which will get me maybe 7%. So now I am comparing each time to the new things that I'm learning, and I can keep adding higher and higher investments into my portfolio, which is really important. And this is, I think, an aspect that a lot of people miss. Very often what we will do is we will just find something that works and stick to that one thing that works, rather than find something that works and then test it with other things to see if there's something that works even better. And if it does, then you might allocate a majority of your funds there. You might still keep doing the thing that you were doing originally, because you don't want to lose that, because that thing might work for a while and then it might crash. So the more investment strategies that you have, the more things you can implement, the more you can react to the market by changing to the ones that work the best in those climate conditions. And you can also change and switch and see if there's something that is even better that you hadn't thought of up until that point. Wow, that turned into a bit of a long story, didn't it? Yes. Number 3, find someone who has done what you want to do. Take them to lunch and ask them for tips and tricks of the trade. As for 16% tax lien certificates, I went to the county tax office and found the government employee who worked in that office. I found out that she too invested in the tax liens. Immediately invited her to lunch. She was thrilled to tell me everything she knew and how to do it. After lunch, she spent all afternoon showing me everything. By the next day, I found 2 great properties with her help that have been accruing interest at 16% ever since. It took a day to read the book, a day to take action, an hour for lunch, and a day to acquire 2 great deals. So always be on the lookout for people who can shortcut and help you find solutions to the challenges that you might have. The more you can do this, always be looking around you and thinking about who might be available, who might you be able to approach in order to be able to talk about things that interest you. So currently, I am looking at doing some co-creation with the people that are on my database. So I have prepared a letter to reach out, but I also spoke to a friend of mine who is a co-creator in order to be able to work together with them and learn from them in order to be able to create new things. So I needed to take the time to focus on thinking about what it was that I needed based on what the goal was, and then take the time to go and have a look at who do I know? And if I don't, then where can I find somebody who I will be able to work together with, who is an expert who would be happy to share some knowledge around that topic. And I was able to find my friend, and we had a chat. And now I have some ideas for the next steps to take on that. And I'm going to let Mladen know here. And now that is something that I'll be sharing with you very soon. So that is another really important and a really good one. And the second last one, take classes, read and attend seminars. I search newspapers and the internet for new and interesting classes, many of which are free or inexpensive. I also attend and pay for expensive seminars on what I want to learn. I am wealthy and free from needing a job simply because of the courses I took. I have friends who did not take those classes who told me I was wasting my money, and yet they're still at the same job. So seminars, there are lots of free ones. Obviously, people will want to sell you something at the end. Make sure that if it's something that you think is going to bring value to your life, then you can absolutely go and do that. If you think it's something that is not going to bring value, but you got something from the free content, or if you think that it's not for you when you get halfway through, then probably better to leave and take the time to work on something that is actually going to bring you profit, is going to bring you results, as opposed to the other way around. So do attend seminars. Don't become a seminar junkie and just go to seminars without taking action. Go to seminars, learn from the free material, and take action on that. Sometimes you're going to need the upsell to be able to implement it properly. So only do that with the things that you think are really good, that really fit with what resonates with you and what you want to do. And then you can get great results from it. Because if you put the money and you are serious about something, then you will take the action. But if you are not the right kind of personality at that point in time, that might not work. And then people will say that they got scammed and nothing happened. You have to go in with the knowledge for yourself that you are going to give it everything and that you are going to work really hard at it and do whatever it takes, no matter what. And if you've done that, and if you ask questions, and if you've implemented, and if you have let people know that you are struggling and ask for solutions and help, then you can definitely say that you have put everything in for it. Otherwise, it is not a scam if you have not done that. And if you don't get anything out of it and they refuse to help and the content is really, really mediocre, then you might have to think about whether you've been scammed or not. And last one, make lots of offers. When I want a piece of real estate, I look at many properties and generally write an offer. If you don't know what the right offer is, neither do I. That is the job of the real estate agents. They make the offers. I do as little work as possible. So we'll continue with this for next time, but I will tell you a story. So I remember when I was in university and I wanted to buy a property and I found something and I was going to get some assistance from my parents because they wanted me to be able to learn. And so I looked at this property and I made a very lowball offer. And I'll never forget that night, I had a completely, totally sleepless night. I was really concerned that the deal would go ahead. It was the first time I'd ever done this, but I did make an offer. And even though I went through a terrible night, it was one of the best things that I ever did because it taught me so much. It taught me about taking action. It taught me about not having to be so worried because the deal didn't go ahead anyway because my offer was so lowball that there was very little chance that the owner was going to accept it. The other interesting thing is that if it would have gone ahead, I would have been extremely profitable because the offer I made was so lowball that had they accepted it, I could have sold the property for probably about 10 to 15% more the next day and made a huge profit. So there was nothing for me to be worried about. And yet I remember lying in bed being totally worried. So go out and take lots of action, because when you take lots of action, you learn from things like this. So that night of worry, now I'm able to look back because I did it, and I've understood that it is not such a big deal. The more you do things, the more you take action. So I have two girls that I'm teaching about the stock market, and I created an account for them on a website called How the Market Works. And you can set up a stock market game. It's like a simulator. And I am looking forward to seeing whether they take action. Now, I've already taken action. I've already bought stocks. And I just randomly selected some very quickly, just to demonstrate to them the power of taking action and actually doing something, as opposed to just sitting there. So their accounts will probably be still at the same amount. Now, I might go up, I might go down. I want to show them the power of random choices. I also made a couple of, well, actually, I set up two accounts for me, so that one is the teacher, one is a student. The student made random choices, and the teacher actually did some research. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Now, my guess is that neither of them will have invested by the end of the week, and then that will form a part of next week's lesson, the importance of taking action. We'll see what happens, but I've definitely taken action, and I'm looking forward to seeing my results, because I think that two of them will already be starting to go up. We will see, especially the ones that I did research on. And the random ones, some of them might have also gone up. So we'll see what happens. But anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. That was already a great start. We are going to continue on. There's still a couple of points that are going to be discussed. I think that this is actually a long one that we just finished up on. So we'll continue with that one. We'll start the dot point again tomorrow morning and then continue from there. Okay, I hope that you all enjoyed that. If you would like to watch other readings that I have done, you can go to YouTube, and I'm on the Passive Cash Flow Club. That's the name of my YouTube, the Passive Cash Flow Club. You can find videos of the art of thinking clearly. You can find Rich Dad Poor Dad, and you can really implement based on some of that commentary that I've been given. I've also got other videos that I've put up with regards to credit cards and different other questions. And I would love to know your questions. So please get in touch. You can get in touch with me through Instagram at business_team_6_official. And if you get in touch there, ask me your questions, and I'm going to be happy to make a video about it and answer that question and put it up on that YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, and then you'll be able to get access to those videos once I make them with regards to your questions, because I'm sure that you have burning questions if you want to be an investor. And especially if you're starting out, it can be a little bit challenging. So do reach out. I'd love to hear from you. I'm really grateful that you are here as well. And if you also reach out on Instagram, if you'd like to join us for cash flow and our online cash flow event, which takes cash flow to a whole new level, because it is much more realistic. It has more realistic tax scenarios and downside scenarios and different other things. Plus, you can actually see how the bookkeeping works and fits together. And there are lessons and interactive things as well. So if you'd like to know more about that, also get in touch, and I will get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you the details around that. And if you ask a question, I will also definitely get in touch personally. She will send that to me and let me know that a question has come in. And then I'll make a video about that and put that onto the Passive Cash Flow Club and let you know that I have published an answer to your question. So great to have you all. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the Zoom recording, and then I'm going to go through the Bigo and have a look at who has responded and follow everybody back. And then I am looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another reading. Have a great day and do some great work.